Okay, welcome back to the Bruderhof YouTube channel. I'm joined again today by Timothy, and we're returning to the topic we've been discussing for the last few weeks, which is the topic of the lifetime commitment, the vows that we as Bruderhof members make, lifetime vows to commit ourselves to this specific body of believers, this instantiation of the universal church.
Right.
And we actually received some interesting pushback to this idea of vows, because in this person's mind, a lifetime commitment to a specific group of people doesn't make sense unless you consider yourself to be the only true church on earth, which obviously we do not believe at all.
Right. Yeah, he was saying something like, don't you want to leave yourself an out if you find something that's better, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Should something more appealing or, in your mind, more in line with Jesus' teachings present itself, wouldn't you want to be able to, leave this fellowship that you've committed yourself to? So that gave us something to think about.
Yeah.
And it's actually a criticism that's been raised over decades by people who've asked us
Right.
about our way of life. So what do we think about that?
It's a good point. First of all, I think it's a bit of a misunderstanding of the commitment itself, because when Bruderhof members make the commitment, one of the vows that we make, I can't remember the exact words, but it's something along the lines of that we promise to speak up if something should be clearer or should more fittingly express the will of God. And what that says is when you make this commitment, you're not committing to a static organization. You're committing to a group of people that are always seeking to be more true to the principles, to the teachings of Jesus, to the vision of church community. So this idea that by making lifetime membership vows, you're locking yourself into one group that's never going to change. It doesn't really make sense, and it's not quite true to what the actual commitment is. We promise to seek together, to be honest with each other, to constantly think about how to be more true to the kingdom, the vision, whatever. So that's at least one point in response, I would say.
And historically speaking, I mean, there's been so much change over
Right.
the course of Bruderhof history, and some very strongly held principles or practices at certain points have been abandoned in
Right.
favor of other ones.
Right.
And that's not to say those things were wrong. At the time, they may have been right. Certain modes of dress, certain, certain worship practices.
Sure, or even like a schedule, a weekly schedule and a daily schedule. Those things have changed drastically over the years.
Right. And similarly, like who we are involved with
Right.
outside of our communities has changed dramatically as we have felt, led to participate. If we think of wartime Europe, our communities were deeply involved in the peace movements at the time.
Right.
We think of the 1960s here in the United States. Our communities were deeply involved in the civil rights movements.
Right.
And today we find ourselves interacting with different people.
Right.
So all this to say, this vision is a dynamic one.
Right. Right.
In the same way that God's Spirit is dynamic.
Right. And that brings up another good point in response to the question. I think it's worth emphasizing that when we make this commitment to membership, we're not committing to the form of the Bruderhof so much as to the vision itself. So there are certain principles that we think are non-negotiable. We're not going to walk back from them, like sharing all things in common, mutual trust, a commitment to each other as brothers and sisters in the family of God, that kind of thing. That's the core. But those things are bigger than the Bruderhof. We don't own them. And so we can't say, even in our life commitment, we can't say that we're committing to the Bruderhof as it stands now in 2024. We're committing to the vision of church community as we want to live it out, as we're living it out now, and as we will live it out in the future. Because it's going to change in the future. It's going to keep changing. But we hope to stay true to the vision.
And we may at some point come across a purer, a better expression of it that exists among another group of people. And I think hopefully all of us would see that together, and then become part of that.
Yeah, and in that kind of situation, one would hope that it would become obvious to all of us, because that's one thing that this brotherhood life isn't. I mean, trying to think how to say this. When something as important as that comes up, we trust that the good Lord will make it clear to more than just one person. So instead of this, thinking one person should have an out, so therefore they shouldn't make a commitment. If another group should come up like that, and we encounter them, we believe that God will make it clear to all of us, and we can discern together what needs to happen, whether we should join forces or whatever. But in the past, we've been open to that, and I would say we're still open to that. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. Obviously, we can read in the book of Acts, how the Spirit did speak and guide, individual people, and telling Paul to go here, to go there. But when he spoke, he also spoke to the fellowship, to the believers as a whole.
Right.
And so that's what I trust would happen.
Right. And it is also part of our understanding of the work of the Holy Spirit that we can discern together what God's will is. That's pretty important, whether it be in our brotherhood meetings or in making decisions. We trust each other to seek together to discern what God's will is. And if there is, maybe we should make that the subject of another video, how decisions are made, because obviously, if someone feels strongly for something or against something, we're not going to, we're going to consider it and think about it. But we do believe that if we're all open to the leading of the Spirit, that God will show the way.
Yeah, that would be a great topic. It's in some ways a difficult one to communicate how that actually works, but it does work. So maybe that's for next time.
Yeah.
Or for another one down the road. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.